Hello guys and welcome to GA Flying. Today we are in Italy and we will be checking out the Cessna 310 from Black Square. Well, actually from Milwitz, then Milwitz changed the name to Black Square. Now it's a Black Square plane. This is still the 2020 version, but it works in 2024 exactly like it has worked in 2020, which means that many bugs are still a thing. That saying, I still think it's the most advanced and feature-rich plane, pretty much GA plane in the sim, despite it being a little bit dated. And what is still the best and what is already dated, obviously will be showcased in this video. We will be starting from Bolzano. This is the place where we have landed with the Bonanza in one of my prior videos. The prior video should be visible now, like above the screen. If you want to watch it, there's a very interesting approach to this airport. That saying, today this will be our departure airport and we will be flying to Lugano, which is another similar city like in the mountains, right? And it's also custom made and is available for free for everyone using MSFS. Okay? So two very nice looking airports, and I hope you will enjoy the flight. As always, with GA planes, especially retro GA planes, we will be doing radio navigation. So let me just show the planned route for today. Just a second. So here we have Bolzano, right? We'll be going down this valley, up here to this, well, greenish. I hope you will see something else than just snow, because I have seen lots of snow in the last days. And then we will go back up to Lugano. Lugano actually has an ILS, but I do hope that we will have enough visibility to just do a VFR landing in this case. Okay, let's talk about the plane. As you can see, it has some covers already installed, and this is already the first thing where it's better than many other high-fidelity GA planes. In this plane, the covers not only cause you like to damage the engine if you start it with them on, but also if you don't have them on and leave the plane for a long time unattended, like days, weeks, whatever, then the status of those connected systems will slowly deteriorate, right? So like there will be no specific nests created by insects or something. It's just that the state will deteriorate, which is already very cool, right? Okay, there is no walk around here. I mean, you can walk around with the avatar, but you cannot click anything for now. But obviously those can be taken off via the tablet, like with all 2020 planes. Okay, let me just show you around. So obviously everything here can be opened. Okay. So I really like how this plane looks like. Well, maybe not from all angles, because like, actually it's also nice in this case, but you will see during the flight, sometimes it kind of looks a little bit dorky, but the profile is very unique and I really enjoy it. That saying, let's go inside. Oops, this is not inside. Let's try again. Yep, this should be this one. And let me make sure that I'm recording everything correctly so we don't lose this nice flight. Yeah, seems to be fine. Okay, so let's start with the tablet. Before we go over the state, I first want to set stuff up. So I don't need all of those. Okay. Stuff that is available like from the inside, you can operate yourself, right? And here it's even like a two-step process. You have to lock the door. And you can already hear the great sounds inside. So the sounds are something, well, one of the main benefits of the plane, I think, that they are just great. And you will also see it once we start the engines. You can also customize the interior, which is also pretty unique. Okay, with some nice stickers. Let me just show you. Yeah, and it already feels more homey. I really liked it during like my world tour when I was using it. It really feels much more like your own plane, right? And you can decide how many of them you want and if you want any of them, okay? Other stuff is trash. So it's not like with most high fidelity planes where the dirt that is accumulating is just like some dots here It's just really dirt, right? So there was an artist that was sitting here like and trying to figure out how it will really look older and more dirty in a lot of places. And it's not only the outside that is like degrading when it comes to the visuals, it's also the inside. So here I have some grass that I brought with me. Here is an old bottle. And the interesting fact is that it's physics enabled. So if you will be turning, the bottle will be rolling around here. Okay, here also like an old leaf. And the more dirty it gets, the more of the stuff you get. Obviously, you can clean it, right? So you don't have to fly with it if you don't want to. Okay, other stuff that is unique here is once again the door. So the door is also physics enabled. You will see once we start the propellers, the door will close, but not fully. And this is actually something that I have seen real 310 pilots doing, that to get better ventilation when it's really hot, they are letting the door, open, but it's being almost closed by the flow of the air. So we will also take a look. I just love this profile here. So this is also something that is great. If you're interested in this livery, it is like a custom livery downloaded from Flight SimTO, and I will also provide a link to it. Okay. And with this, I think we can slowly start. So everything is saved, which is also not so obvious. We only have like a couple of planes that are saving everything. Okay, so let me just open the flow from the tanks. I have already set up the QNH for today. You can also open this one. Yeah, great views. Okay, let's just turn everything on. Okay. Oh, anti-collision was actually on. Okay, so let's keep it on. Let's just crack the throttle a little bit. Okay, magnetos, this is fine. We are not using the boost pumps for the engine start, but are turning them on after the start. And it's important to never put it into high, because high is the emergency setting, and it can and will damage the engine if you use it for too long. Okay. Okay, so it's pretty cold. We have the temperature here, it's around 0 degrees. Okay. Luckily, this is fully anti-icing capable, and as far as I understand, in the reality, it's also certified for flying into non-icing, right? So you don't need to simulate like running away from icing, although obviously, like with every GA plane, it's not giving you invincibility, right? Let me just check if the battery is okay, because it can also unload if you keep something on for too long, right, and leave the plane, which is also great. But let's start. 1, 2, 3, 4. There, see? Physics enabled door. Okay, and let's do the same with the other one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay, some very good sounds. Let me see if it's not too loud, maybe a little bit. So let's just reduce it. And as I will be explaining stuff, let me close this one, but then later we can open it. Okay, taxi light, nav lights, obviously all of those breakers can and will pop with time. So let's talk about the passengers and other stuff here. It's a little bit dark, but still. Let's add some passengers. You can see the weight is changing, and you can actually display them. And let me just turn around. Okay, so co-pilot. The models are pretty nice. I mean, they are not those uncanny, very retro models that you know. Actually, they are probably shared among many planes, because I know this guy. Okay. So, if you like passengers, you can have them. If you don't like them being visible, you can just get rid of them. Okay. So for now, let's hide the avatars. Let's talk about other stuff. So when it comes to the sensitivity, the trim in this one is really strange. for some reason it's not working correctly for me, but I have seen like a very long discussion in the 2020 times, and like many people were saying that for them it's normal. So this is why they have introduced like this setting here, so you can change it to the sensitivity that you pretty much need. Okay. Other options. So here we have the different avionics options. You can see even the G5 is included. So the one, this EFIS, this digital EFIS that was lately introduced, like in the Comanche, for example, you can have here, and just using radio navigation, own rental, show user registration, so pretty much stuff that we also know from A2A, right, and other planes, and also all of this, also stuff that we know from A2A, right, wear and tear, ownership features, and I have it saved, and I have the failures set to more common than real, because real is, I think, rarely, right, occasionally it's a little bit more. Okay. And here we can see the status. Oh no, I turned it on already. Okay, forgot about this one. So let me turn it off, okay? Just so I can show you this one page. At least we will have nice hot engines then later. Okay, so here. Okay, and let's close. This is what happens if you want to explain something. Okay, I know it's dark, but I will just zoom in. So this is not everything that can break, but those are the systems that are covered by wear, right? And that they can fail other systems. So here you can see it's the brakes, the gear, the flaps. So this is something that I think it's only in A2A planes, because in many other planes with failures, they are, for example, not reacting to you landing too hardly, right? In this case, it all has an influence. This is also why I think that this system is actually the most realistic feeling system of all of the ones that I have flown for longer, right? That's saying it's kind of abstracted because it's just like a bar. You don't really go outside and check the oil. If the oil will be getting bad, you will just see it deteriorating, okay? And the worse the state of the system, the bigger the chance that something will fail, right? So if we would keep those worn cylinders for long without repairing them, then the chance of an engine failure would rise. For now, this is good enough. We want to save some money, so let's hope that nothing bad will happen. During the last flight, I was topping off oil in the right engine. Okay, so this was also getting yellow. So also important, we cannot overspeed the flaps, right? And we cannot land too hard, and we cannot brake too hard. So everything has a meaning. This is also why I think that this plane is still one of the best that gives you the best ownership feeling, even if it's abstracted, even if it's just a bar, right? That saying, as I already said, it's not just what you can see here. It's a lot of those additional systems, including all of those lights that can burn out. And in this plane, you can actually test the lights. So this is something that I think still not works in the Aerostar. The Aerostar has the same type of button that tells you press to test, right? But if you press it, nothing happens. So I don't know. Maybe it was just my Aerostar. But in this one, it works. Okay. So now let's go back to starting the engine. Sorry for that. Okay. Let's hope it will start nicely now. Okay, and pumps to off. Okay, making sure they are off. We have the volts here. Let's crack the throttle. Okay, nice. Okay, nice. So they were nice and warm. Okay, and pumps too low. Now we can come back to the stuff that we wanted to do. So avionics master. As I said, I really hope for VFR here, right? You can just test them and every one of those can fail, like many other things in this plane. And it nicely starts with standby, and it does remember the last frequencies. So if we would be landing here in the last flight and would use the local VOR, then it will be still tuned in here. Okay, I was flying it in a different place, so it's not the VOR that I need. I've heard some clicking and was afraid it's like a breaker popping. Okay. Okay. I don't like this haze. Okay. So either way, let me just get the charts and I will show you what we'll be doing. So this is the sit. Actually, there is also like a second one. Let me just make this larger. Yeah, this one. So we will be departing south, and then we will be using this VOR radial to stay on course to not collide with any of those mountains. That saying, I hope we will have visibility, so I will just tune it in to be safe. Right. Let me just see if we have the frequency of this one here or not. Here, 11705. Okay. Was it 05? Yeah, 05. 11705. Okay. 194 is the course. Okay. So this is 18, 1,9er, and 194. Okay. Is it? Yeah, 18, 19, 19. Okay, nice. So when it comes to those gauges, they aren't as dynamic as in A2A planes. Nothing vibrates here, but they get more and more alive the more you are flying it and the more the engines deteriorate. Then those needles will get less and less stable, right? Okay. So let's just tune in some kind of altitude, right? We have alt select here, which is already much more convenient than in the Aerostar, for example, where you cannot like tune in an altitude that the plane will be holding. And let me see. Oh, actually, pitot heat was on from the last flight, right? Because I was doing a lot of tests. So this is also great, but you need to watch checklists, because otherwise it will stay as you have left it. Once again, obvious for A2A planes, but not for many other very high quality planes, right? Okay, let me check the steering surfaces, because it was like in a strange position, so I wanted to make sure that it will really work. Okay, great visibility, as you can see, to the back. And there is one amazing thing here, I think for the passengers in reality. Let me just show you here. So if you're sitting here, you have this view. I mean, how amazing it is. Is it like in a World War II bomber, I guess, like in the machine gun port. This is just great. This is also why I like the view, and also this panoramic view to the side with this great wing view. Okay. That saying, I think we can start. Let me just check the alternators, because they obviously also can fail, but they seem to be stable, right? Let's see here. This is fine. This is fine. Here we have the heater, but we will start it during the flight. It can overheat if you don't turn on cabin air, right? For there to be the movement of air. Let's see if we will be able to turn on the spot. I still need to work on my rudder pedals, because I was thinking. Yeah, I know, not very elegant, but like effective, more or less. And I hope you can appreciate the sounds. I really like them. They might not be as like high resolution as, for example, in the new Black Square planes, right? But I really like the sound. You can see there is like a little bit less detail, I would say, but the character of the sound is really great. I can just open this up. There is pretty much no wind in the meter, just 1 knot. And the parking brake. Okay, nice. And we close this one. Okay, go full here. And let's just do the tests. So 1700, just switch it to old. Okay, I'm always checking if they have like the same values, because this is how you notice that like the state of the engine deteriorates, right? Okay, let's just exercise the propellers. Okay. Magneto check. Okay, so this one has the biggest drop, but it's still fine. Okay, let's set everything up. So pumps on low is fine. Let's extend the landing lights, turn on the strobe light, turn on the pitot heat. There is also one amazing thing with prop heating, and I think this might be the only plane that is doing it. So if you accumulate some ice on the propeller already and then turn on prop heat, you will actually hear the ice particles impacting on the hull of the plane for a time when it's shedding them. I mean, I just love those details in this plane. Okay, let me make sure, because I'm so excited now that I will probably forget about something. No, seems like we are ready to roll then. Let me maybe adjust the heading back. So we will see how the elevator will work during the takeoff, because this is also something that some users seems to experience, that like it can be very sensitive in pitch during the takeoff. Okay. Stickers, yay. Okay. Let me start. Yeah, amazing view. And also this hill looks amazing from above, because there are those vineyards on it. Really nice view when you are coming in. Okay, so everything seems fine. There are cow flaps, but we are pretty much not using them. They are staying most of the time in the open position. This is because in this plane they are kind of covered. So like shock cooling is not really something that we can expect. They are only recommending to use them in like special situations when you are really seeing that the temperatures like are getting really cold, right? Really low. Let me just take a look. This is fine, this is fine. No strange vibration here. Okay, seems like we can start. Rotation is 92. Okay, nice. So in this case the elevator is kind of behaving okay-ish. Tap the brakes, gear up. Okay, and in this plane, it's very important to tap the brakes, because it's actually the only plane I know about that has a failure connected to it. So if you don't tap the brakes and like retract them, there is a very slight chance that you might damage the gear bay. Never happened to me, but it's listed in the manual, right? Because I'm always tapping the brakes in this one, because I'm afraid to damage it. But it is listed in the manual. Okay. Okay, bringing back the props. Here you can see those. Wow. Okay, that's really cool. Okay, let's turn on heating. And let's make sure we don't overheat the engines, because of the cowl flaps being like protected, it's pretty easy to overheat it. Here you can see it. We are already close to the limit. So let's not climb too sharply. Wow, I mean, this valley is just amazing. Let me try an outside view. Okay, maybe a different one. Yeah, awesome. Okay. And here we obviously also have this pilot from 2020. For me, it's a woman. I don't know why. I think it's something that I have set up like a very long time ago and just left it like it. But she's pretty cool, so just using her. Okay, guys. So we can start leaning, and this is also something that is very important in this plane. It's like very sensitive to leaning, and it does require a lot of leaning when climbing. Okay, the great part is that this computer here is actually showing you the power setting here. So you can immediately see if by leaning you are gaining power or losing power. So this is something that, for example, the Black Square planes don't have. They have this power setting as one of those options, but it's hidden here, right? You need to click through them. And here it's always visible, which for a plane that always requires leaning is just great. Okay, so other stuff. You can get rid of the pumps. You can retract the landing lights because they actually extend, so they are introducing drag. Okay, is there anything that we don't need here? No, everything else stays. Let's check the breakers. They seem to be fine. So we are just enjoying the views. Yeah. This is great. And once again, a totally free airport from Asabo. Okay. Let's check the power here. You can see a slight difference in the usage. This is probably because the propellers are not exactly synced. That's saying those differences in the engines will be getting higher and higher. Okay, let me just set up autopilot, heading mode. Okay, and how to use the VS functions, because it's easy to make a mistake. So now we are in VS mode, so those buttons work, right? Because actually we need to, yeah, let's go to set, okay? And we are still in VS mode, so those really control the VS. But if you would be in alt mode and would press those buttons, it would bug out and like dive or climb like crazy. So you need to be sure you are in VS mode if you want to use any of those buttons. And switching between alt mode and VS mode happens via clicking alt. I think it's like the oldest logic that we had in 2020 when it comes to the autopilots. Okay, that's saying we can see we are losing power, so let's see if... Can get some more. I mean, it's a climb setting, so... Here, 58. Okay? So leaning when climbing. Okay? Okay? And let me already use the next VR that we will be using once we leave this valley here. 11725. Okay. Okay, now you can see it has changed to altitude. If we would now click any of those buttons, it would back out and do like crazy stuff. So if we would like to come back to the VS mode, we would need to press Alt again. Okay, let's check if all of the lights work, because this is one of the first things that fails. Okay, works. Nice. I'm not sure if this will be enough to make it over those beautiful mountains. Let me just do some views. Wow. Okay, this is really nice. Okay. And as you can hear, the outside sounds are always also like not very high definition, but like very pleasing, which is also important if you want to fly a plane for very long. So once again, this is the one that I have done, well, one of my longest world tours lately in. So lots and lots of hours. But as I said, I'm not that crazy. Many of them were just AFK, right? So I was like reading a book or doing something on the computer at this time. So it's not that I was really paying attention for so many hours. Although you can, right? I heard of people who were like flying world tours with VR, right? With the headset on their head. So everything is possible. Okay, when it comes to leaning, you need to lean a lot, which we have already explained. But sadly, lean assist, as far as I know, doesn't work, like in the newer add-ons, so it's not programmed. Maybe I'm wrong, but I couldn't make it work, right? So what I'm pretty much using is EGT, okay? But first, let me see what the setting is. So I would like it to be 21, okay? Here I would like it to be 23. Is it 1, 2, 3? Yeah, it is. And now let's just lean. Okay, looking at EGT. So the EGT is still racing. I think the peak is somewhere here. Okay. Yeah, it's not moving anymore. Okay, so let's just do reach of peak around 2 lines, 2.5, 3 lines. Okay, and we should be nicely reach of peak this way. Let me check if it's not too loud. It should be fine for you guys. As sadly, there is no headphone simulation, but what I'm using is just a headphone simulation from MSFS. Right? If you don't know, let me just show you. So here under sounds, headphone simulation, there is actually a hotkey for it that you can assign in the settings, but it was never working, right? So when they have introduced it, it was bugged, and from what I know, it's still not bugged. And it would be just great, because you would have headphone simulation in every plane by just pressing a button. But sadly, well, it was too difficult for some reason. Okay, so let me just go back. Okay, let's talk about the auxiliary tanks. So we will want to use the fuel from them, okay? So first, we need the pumps. Once again, only to the low setting, never the high setting. Okay, and now we need to carefully change it. Okay, let's see if it works. Because there is also like a, according to what they say, right? It cannot work. There can be like a blockade in the fuel lines or something. So it seems like the engine is still stable. Okay, so here also. But it can also fail if you don't use the pump. And it's a very dangerous thing to do, because if you put it too high and don't notice it, you might overpressure like the lines, the engine. Okay, but for now it works. And we will have to make sure that we don't forget about it, because obviously if it will go to zero, then we will crash, right? And this is not something that we want. Okay, let me just see what else. I just have like a nice list here. Yeah, so actually, from all of those unique things that I wanted to show you, I think that this might have been all. Let me just make sure the temperatures are okay. Yeah, so in general, when I was flying it like for those many hours, especially over Japan, I remember like my engines were really, really warm. Then those differences between those needles were very high, and some of them were very unstable, right? So it's not that it will be always as static as you can see here, which looks a little bit dated, right? Because all of those new add-ons have them very dynamic. It can get less dynamic, that's saying you need to use it for a long time. Or you can just like buy a rented one, right? An already used one if you want to. Whoa, okay, this is cool. Let us climb a little bit, maybe. Okay, 8,000, changing from altitude to VS, and just slowly, because we are already leaned. And so normally when climbing, to be totally safe, I should like re-lean it to make sure that we will have full power. But in this case, I will just do a very shallow climb and it should be fine. Okay, now I can turn off the pumps. Okay, we can take a look outside. Let me just see if my head tracking is working, because I haven't used it for some time. Yeah, I don't know, I just love this view, and I love this really authentic looking dirt, right? So once again, not just a couple of dots that are appearing there, or like a splash of mud, but really this well, authentic looking wear, right? Yeah, this road going up looks great here. Must be amazing to live here. I have to say the Alps, right, the mountains in Europe, are really one of the best looking places in flight sim currently, especially because of all of those like mountain. I'm not sure if it's a valley, right? So on the mountain sides, those villages on the mountain sides really look amazing, and they also look like this kind of in reality, but obviously most of the time you won't see them from the air. And if you see them from the air, it will be from an airliner that is like high above, right? So you won't see the detail. Okay, let me see how much power we have. 60% is still fine. So it's really great in this specific plane, right? That you can see it right away. Yeah, nice. Okay, we can do some outside views. Okay, nice. Yeah, so obviously I know it's not an Italian registration, right? It's one from Ireland. But I figured like in Europe everybody is flying everywhere, and it was looking really nice. And I wanted something that is not that has a warmer color because of all of the snow. So it always looks nicer and more positive. I really enjoy it. And if you also like it, I do recommend to download it. Once again, it will be in the description. Wow, this is really great. So when we were doing this approach to Bolzano with the Bonanza, I think it wasn't looking as epic as now. Really, really nice. Okay, so we still don't have the signal from the other VOR. So I think what we will do is just jump ahead, okay? Once we will be closer to the destination airport. Okay, so see you then. Thanks. Okay guys, so let's talk about what has happened. So we are currently in cruise. Let me just show you on the map where we are. So we have left this valley here and are closing the first VOR. Okay, and we are kind of starting to plan the descent then later into the airport. The problem is the very weak visibility. Also the meter, the destination meter is not very good. No icing yet, although it's around like 0 degrees, and there is obviously like visual icing, so you will see it. One thing that I have noticed just yet is that the approach is actually not an ILS approach. Let me just show you. So Lugano, right? It's a localizer approach, so we will have to manage this descent by our own. We will see how this will work out with the help of this table. As I can see, it's pretty sharp descent. I'm not sure where the degrees are. It's probably obvious. 6, no, this is DME. But I can see, oh, here, 4.4, right? So it's much sharper than the standard ones. It's similar like it was in Bolzano, right? Another fun fact is that this airport is actually in a very strange geographical position, I mean the national position, because as you can see here all around is Italy, Switzerland just go back here just to capture this one city pretty much. So I'm sure there is a very interesting story behind it, okay, but interesting fact, right? And we can see a lot of small lakes here, rivers. It's a very interesting well, landscape here. I hope we will see something, because as I said, the visibility is not supposed to be great. Okay. Let me just take a look. Yeah, I really like how it looks. Like, what can I say? Okay, and we can see some of the mountains, so it's not so bad. I'm just afraid of the soup here that we will have to descend into. Okay, that's saying I will see you once we will be closer to the descent. Bye bye. So guys, another status report. Now we are kind of here, and we'll be already joining this radial here down. This approach is not so easy, because here we can see the radial from the VOR that we will be following, but it's actually not published in a way where it would nicely join the localizer, right? So we probably would be needing this here, but we will not be using this VOR here. So I'm not sure. Let me just take a look at the map. So this is here. I just don't see here. MMP. Is it this one? Yeah, this one, MMP. Okay, so we might use it actually, 113.35. It's the first time I'm landing at this airport. Okay, 0.35. Okay. Okay, so I have kind of modified what we are doing, because now we were closing to this VOR here, because I wanted to fly from this VOR here, but according to the charts it would be much better to use the VOR that is hidden here, right? So I would just make sure that we have the signal for this VOR, we do, and then would just remove this one, which I think... Just see. I don't want this airway, and I don't want this. Okay. Okay, so let's go to 113.35 on a radial of 276. Okay. And it was supposed to be 276. So this is 27, this is 275, so this is 276. Okay, and this way we should have a nice approach. Okay, the visibility, oh, this is actually cool. So just what is in front of us that will be a problem. Okay, and you can see still 23 miles out. So we will just cut to the moment where we will begin this problematic approach. I hope I will be able to do it. Okay, see ya. Okay guys, so we are back. The weather is not very nice. Let's hope that this approach will be doable. So we just turned over this VOR flying from here and are now on the localizer to the destination airport. Okay, there will be a lot of mountains along the way, so it might be challenging, but we will see. One important thing is that, let me just see if it catches nicely. One important thing is that we will start the descent once we are 9 DME out, and we will probably have to be fully configured. Because of this 4.4 degree glide slope, we will be taking on a lot of speed, right? And just to have this control, I would like to start it configured, but we will see. I have also set up nav2, okay, with the same data. If we would have a failure of the main system, then we would be still able to land, hopefully. Also, something that I wasn't expecting is that we now see glide slope data. According to the chart, it was just a localizer approach. That's saying if this data will be accurate, then we might also use it. So you will see. Maybe it's outdated charts or like something with MSFS. Okay, so I will see you once we will be at 9 miles. Okay guys, so we are close to the descent, 11 miles out. I will go full mixture just because we will have a long approach fully configured, and it's something where this plane really likes to overheat, right? So this additional fuel should cool it a little bit. I'm concerned with how the autopilot flies it, because this might suggest that there is a lot of wind, despite the forecast saying that it should be 2 knots, at least at the airport. We do have rain, and so a lot of dangerous stuff at once. That's saying let's just prepare. Okay, and we are at 9, and we are going down with 900 vertical speed. Let's retract the flaps and retract the gear and retract the lights. Everything introduces additional drag. That might be useful here. 3 greens, nice. I'm just wondering what will happen with this glide slope, because it is moving and it is catching up, so we will see. Okay, let me just take the chart. We will just compare the DME, right, with the height that we are supposed to be at. Okay, so we will check it at 565, should be 474, or kind of. Okay, Oops, we lost enough. So let's hope we'll come back on this slope. Okay. And I think I can use the next notch of flaps. I'm aiming for around 120, which according to the chart should be a vertical speed of 900. I'm really concerned about this one because it's blowing us off course and there's like a lot of mountains around. Okay, so we are at the altitude target for 5 DME, so this is fine. Let's go full propellers. Let's turn on the taxi light. Let's try the approach mode, because the glide slope is coming down. Maybe it can help us. Especially since it seems like we are being blown around. So it might be more precise than what we are having here. Okay, glide slope is armed. This is exactly why altitude select and vertical speed select is so important if you want to fly those complicated approaches with radio navigation, because sadly with the Aerostar the amount of work here would be like insane. Okay, we are accelerating. The airport is at 2000. Okay, so here everything is on, this is on. Okay, the engine is hot, but it's not bad yet. And just reduce the speed. Okay. And let's hope this will be a nice landing. Yeah, the landscape here is beautiful, but sadly this is what we get if we go on an adventure with real weather, right? At least it's more dramatic. Okay, let me descend a little bit more, because it still seems like... I'm not sure about the glide slope. This might be something that is just wrong in the sim. Okay, let's make sure we have free green. Yeah, because playing with failures. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Yeah. We are being blown up here a lot. Whoa, this is really strange. Okay, for sure not the best landing. Okay, so for 2 knots that were forecasted, this was a really strange experience during the landing. Oh well, at least the approach was nice. Okay, so now probably time for the replays. And we can proceed. Can we vacate here? No. Okay, so let's just turn. Yeah, and the airport is also pretty interesting. You will see it like in a second. Okay. And also one thing that I haven't shown you before, obviously, like the heater is on, right? So the temperature for the heater is here. So it's not as good as in black square planes where you can just see it somewhere, right? And then it's more immersive, especially if you're pretending that you're doing retro flying, then like pulling up the EFB is not so immersive, right? That's saying the simulation is still here and there is no auto mode, so you also can play around with it, right? Like with a mini game. Okay, you can get rid of this. Probably also of the pitot heat. Yeah, normally it's beautiful here. I mean, now it's also beautiful in a way, I would say. Yes, I can really recommend this approach. Lots and lots of mountains, especially with like bad visibility. I mean, obviously with good visibility it will be great. With bad visibility it will be an adventure like we had here. Yeah, and the flight from Bolzano here seems also like a very good idea. Okay. So this is fine. Strobe off, landing lights off. Okay, this stays, this stays, this stays. Nice, so we can proceed. Just for some sounds, and we can taxi like the pros. Yeah, so maybe let's proceed, because this seems to be the helicopter parking place, so not for us. But from what I remember from the charts, those should be ours. We can also... Can we proceed? Because the tower is pretty interesting, so I want to show you the tower. Once again, for free from Asobo, so definitely worth checking out, especially since it's in such an interesting and challenging place, right? Yeah, and I just love how the sound changes depending on the throttle setting. This is really, really well done. Here you can see the terminal. Okay, and let's see, because this is strange here from what I remember from the chart. So if we go on 3-2, the stop for us will be here, so let's do it. Okay. Okay, nice. So we can close this one. Close, oops, not like this. Like this. Okay, we can get rid of the heater. Because once again, everything will be saved, right? So let's check the checklist. Okay, exterior lights, okay, engine cowl flaps full open, they stay open, flaps up, so we have it. Okay, transponder to standby, standby, Mixture lean is lean. Exterior lights. Okay. Avionics master off. Okay. Can also get rid of the taxi light on this light. Throttles idle. Okay. Magneto switches off. Okay, nice. So only the battery left. Can get rid of the anti-collision light. Nothing has popped as far as I can see. Let's check the battery. It's nice for the next flight. Okay. Let's close the fuel. Whoa. Some strange lag, sorry guys. Yeah, just wondering why I see only one light. It might be failed, because when I click press to test, it doesn't light up. And we do have fuel. Yeah, okay, so our failure. See? I just love this, like, minor failures. It's obviously always terrifying if one of those fails and you never know if you have the gear out or not. Okay, let's also close this one. So everything will be nice and pristine when we come back. And with this, we can also close this one. Nice atmospheric rain. Okay. Here you can see the blows of the wind slowly moving the door. Okay guys, so the Cessna 310 from Blackbird, I actually still think this might be the most complete high-fidelity GA plane there is, with all of those unique features that are still not provided by many other developers. And as you can see, despite some bugs, I guess, I think still the elevator and the elevator trim are behaving strangely. But pretty much all of the rest works just wonderfully. So actually, if I would be doing another world tour, I would probably choose this one. That saying, I didn't do it because my last world tour was with it. Right? So despite it being dated in some places, it's still like revolutionary in many others. Plus, I just love how it looks, and like the visibility from inside is really unique, and the wing view. So with this, I hope this was interesting. I do recommend both of those airports, right? Once again, free for everybody. And I do still recommend the plane. And I cannot wait for the 2024 version that they are supposed to be working on now, right? Okay, so thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in future GA flying videos. Bye-bye.